Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about Cult of Chucky, the 2017 movie. So I have mixed feelings about this movie. I have about the same attention span as I do for Child's Play 3. It's just that it's not a terrible movie by no means. It's just a movie that kind of gets kind of bland at times and kind of bores me. The problems I have with this movie is that at first I was a bit confused. When the movie started, it started with Andy, and I assumed, okay, Andy's back in the saddle, and he's back to run this franchise as the protagonist and this and that. And we see where he's been up to for the last couple of years since the third movie. And he's been going on dates, but him and his date can't get along because he is very pro Second Amendment now, because he fears the whole Charles coming back in the Chucky body or any other type of I guess the Chucky body and stuff like that, and coming to get him. So he has a house full of guns and other weapons and stuff. And we see the toll that, the first three movies had on him. That was great stuff. That's really world building and stuff. And so I was curious to see where it was going to go from there. But he has the severed head from Colt, no, not Colt, but I guess, actually, where did he get this severed head from? Because there are two different heads with scars on it, I guess. Or maybe this is the one from Curse of Chucky. But then I thought at the end of Curse of Chucky, maybe it was a newer doll. I can't really remember. Anyway, he has like a severed head of Chucky that he's been torturing and stuff like that. And so I was very curious to see where it was going to go with him. However, it cuts from that to Nico in the insane asylum. And then the majority of the movie takes place there. And I'm just kind of like, well, hold up. Isn't this Andy's movie? Well, I guess it's not. It's Nico's movie. And so I assume Nico is just going to be like a one and done character from Curse of Chucky. But she's not. And probably because, she's played by the real life daughter of the actor who voices Chucky. Fiona, who does an amazing job, by the way. I was like, okay, it's taking a little too long in this asylum. And so I have a pacing problem with the movie because they're trying to tell two different stories. There's the stuff that's going on with Andy and his severed Chucky head, and then there's the stuff going on with Nico and her being in an asylum. Because nobody will believe that a Chucky doll is real and going around killing people. Now, I have not finished Seed of Chucky. I just started it. And I'm about 20. I'm about to where Glenn ships himself to the movie studio, but has not come out the box yet. Now, that's not supposed to be no kind of take on coming out the closet. Anyways. I'm only that far in it. So, so I don't really know what goes on with the rest of that movie. However, I would have assumed that, at the end of Bride of Chucky, what happened to that detective cop? He clearly can see that there are living dolls. You'd think he would have shown people that and shown people the baby of a doll and everything. So technically, all of this should have been put to rest, and people should believe Nico and Andy, which, even the psychiatrists and stuff don't believe Andy and stuff. Even when he has the severed head and starts torturing it in front of the people and it makes noise, they think it's remote controlled and everything. So at the end of Bride of Chucky, how come nobody now believes that Charles is inside the body of doll and stuff, and then Tiffany and all this. So that don't make no sense. I have to finish watching See the Chucky to figure out if this is like a plot hole or what. But they made a movie based off of the dolls going, the souls going in the doll's body and killing folks. So you'd think people would know something, but hey, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so all the stuff at the same asylum just started to like slow down the plot, and it bored the crap out of me. I don't care about like all these new characters. I don't care about them and everything. I don't care that they're cuckoo in the head and they're in the same asylum and all this other stuff. And Nico's just there. She's trying her best to get out. So she's trying to say, yeah, I made the whole thing up and blah, blah. So she's going to take the rap for like the murders and just plead that she's insane just to get out. And so I was curious to see where they're going to go then. And then they went back to Andy again. And then so it keeps bopping back and forth to Nico and Andy and stuff like that. And so, of course, Chucky, he gets mailed to like this insane asylum, but there's already another Chucky doll there. Well, this movie introduces I was wondering, how is this a cult of Chucky and everything? Like, what exactly is going on? Is it people who's taking up the killing spree or like what? You know what I'm saying? And so then when I saw what happened, I saw that the Malcolm multiple dude, he got pushed into like, the grave. That one asylum lady who thinks Chucky is her baby pushed him in there. Then she throws Chucky in there. I assume Chucky killed him, but then when we see Malcolm helped her get him out, I'm thinking to myself, oh crap, did Chucky possess him? Because I watched the TV show first. But it turns out Malcolm's just playing around because he's cuckoo in the head. And so, of course, this freaks out like, Nico, because she's paraplegic and she knows Chucky wants to kill her and stuff and, crap like that. But the thing I don't get is why is Chucky now so obsessed with that of Nico and everything? I get because of like her mother. But once he put her in that insane asylum and knowing that she ain't gonna get out, why does he care to like finish the deal? But then we find out why. He wants her body and stuff. Now the television show makes a million more sense and everything. Because I was just kind of like, I don't understand anything that's going on. And now that I watch the movies, I got a better understanding of it and stuff. And so like, Andy, when he sees that Nico is, in the insane asylum and people are dying there and they assume it's her, he knows it must be Chucky, but he's very confused because he doesn't understand how that Chucky can be killing people in the insane asylum, but yet he has the severed head and everything. And so then we see him take another doll out whose hair he cut. And so I guess he's been collecting Chucky dolls, but if he only assumed that only one soul can go in one doll, why did he collect the other and stuff? And he has a very brilliant way of like getting into the asylum. He gets committed. But once he gets committed, what I don't understand is how did he assume that they will give him back his Chucky doll and stuff, Because he planted a gun inside that Chucky doll. And you would think they would have scanned it in the metal detector to see if anything's in that Chucky doll before it went into the asylum. So this part is kind of wishy-washy for me. Because it's kind of like he was betting that they will give him his doll back so he can get his gun and take out Chucky and stuff. But that just don't make no sense. But anyways, so it takes a long time for him to escape because they have to wait and give him his Chucky doll back. But then his Chucky doll is actually now alive because now Chucky, and I'm so glad they explained this in dialogue. They explain that like Chucky read something in his voodoo book that he can split his soul into multiple dolls. He pulled the bottom up and everything. So Dan has been paying attention to Harry Potter and stuff. But he wanted to do this concept back in the third Child's Play movie, but couldn't because of budget. Now, that movie came out in 91. This one came out in 2017. I don't know when J.K. wrote, the whole splitting of the souls things in her Harry Potter books, because those books did come out in the 90s. But I believe all that stuff didn't become fruition until like the early 2000s. So I guess he did it first in a way, but he just couldn't put it on the screen. So anyways, So yeah, now you got multiple Chuckies like running around, but it's I still feel it's weird. They all have slightly different personalities and stuff, and it's also weird they don't have the same memories. And that's something that was explored in the TV show. And then so we see Tiffany. She comes to the insane asylum to talk to Nico and everything. And it's great to see Jennifer Tilly back, tying it into, of course, all those other movies. Because remember, they remade the first movie with the Curse of Chucky, but all these direct to DVD movies are a tie-in to the other movies and stuff. And so I'm very bummed. Like I said, I have mixed feelings because I'm bummed that Alice is not in this movie really. She's only in it for a few seconds. And that's only like a dream sequence. But the problem I have with that is that so my theory is right. After watching The Curse of Chucky, he did transfer his body into that of Alice and stuff, but it didn't last long because something happened to Alice and she died. And we get told this on screen that she died off screen. And they didn't want to show it, they didn't want to show a kid getting killed. But it does make me wonder why. Like, it would have made more sense for Alice to visit Nico in the insane asylum instead of that of Tiffany. And I don't know why the actress was unavailable to film this movie. Maybe child labor laws. Maybe they didn't want a child going around killing people. Maybe she was in another project. Like, I don't know. But it would have made more sense to have her, or at least recast her or something. So I think it was like, it just really bummed me out she wasn't in there causing like havoc and everything with the soul of Chucky inside her. It would have made for a lot more of an interesting movie in my opinion. And so, but what also don't make sense is that, okay, of course her grandmother did die, but Tiffany is now the guardian of Allison. And I don't understand how that's possible. When Nico heard of Tiffany Valentine, she recognized the name and recognized the face, but she didn't know why. Other people should have too. And so, how in the world, after in order to get adopted, you have to go through the legal process to make sure you're like sane and like not a criminal. So once they saw Tiffany Valentine's name on there, they should have realized based off that movie and stuff that Tiffany was, and also they can just read on newspapers and articles and archives that Tiffany is the former girlfriend of Charles Lee Ray and everything. So how in the world did she get possession of that of Alice? And unless she pretended to be Jennifer Tilly and everything. Because remember, like now also the movie makes sense while the TV show makes sense while all these identical people looking the same but not being related. So she looks just like Jennifer Tilly and stuff like that from Curse of Chuck, not Curse, but Seed of Chucky and everything. And so, like, she could have just pretended to be her and adopted what's the name then. That would have made sense. But why didn't she present herself as Jennifer Tilly when she went to the asylum sign? So that makes me think she presented herself as Tiffany to, like, adopt. So that's just kind of odd and weird and stuff. But anyway, so Chucky takes possession of Nico's body. And all of a sudden now, he can walk or she can walk and everything, but that should not be possible. She was stabbed in the womb and it severed her spine. She is permanently, like paralyzed. I don't understand how the soul can all of a sudden make the body walk. Plus, she's like what in like her 30s, something like that. Probably, and so 30 something years. Your leg muscles aren't going to develop within seconds. She shouldn't be able to walk no matter what. And so that don't never make no sense. But of course now, this makes perfect sense for like, the television show when she reappears. So a lot of people, I've been wondering myself, who is the real Chucky soul and everything? And which doll and which body? Some people believe the real Chucky soul is inside of Nico from like the television series. I don't know. I think the real one might be that severed head that Andy has. But I don't know. These movies are kind of confusing in a way. Because now, all of a sudden in the TV series, Chucky no longer wants to put himself in the body of like, whoever he reveals himself to, and now he can put him in multiple like objects that can walk around and stuff. But in the television show, he kept wanting Jake to murder somebody. And a lot of people have been wondering why, even in the show. And then they reveal it's because if he can convince a child to murder somebody, then something will happen. I guess he'll become immortal forever and ever and ever, and his soul will never die or something, which is now new for the concept of the TV show. I get it, they had to be different and stuff. But, Andy is now stuck in the asylum. And so, who busted him out? Everybody assumed it's probably Kyle and everything. And so, but it would have been nice to like reveal that, because she does show up in the post-credit scene where she goes back to the cabin and tortures the head and everything. The problem is I never saw that because on Tubi they don't show the end credit scenes, which really bums me out. And so you have to go to YouTube and like look for that and stuff. And so I will say all the stuff that got really good was, towards the end of the movie where all the killing and stuff happened, which is a lot more glory than it has been in any other movie. I will say I do miss all the foul language. It sucks not hearing him cuss all the time. It is an interesting concept. But one thing that really boggles me is that like the DVD did extremely well. And so then just 2 years later, actually 1 year after the DVD came out, they were already planning to do a reboot. And originally Universal was going to do it. Brad was going to revoice his role as Chucky, and Dan was going to come back, the creator of Chucky. But then developmental crap started happening, and they decided to go to a different studio and reboot the entire thing. This is where we got the 2019 movie with Mark Hamill and Aubrey Plaza. And apparently that movie rubbed people the wrong way because they didn't like the idea of that Chucky trying to protect Andy. Also, I haven't seen that yet, but I do not like the face of Chucky in that movie. And so then, of course, they went with the television series that came out, and I think in what was it, 2020 or something like that, or 2021. And so I always kind of felt kind of odd, like, okay, if these direct the DVD sequel movies did very well, then why in the world did they want to reboot it? Now they wanted to reboot it back in 2010, but like I said, on developmental crap. But then these direct to DVD movies came out, and it's kind of like, okay, if these direct to DVD movies, which are more darker than any of the past movie, even Chucky is a lot more darker and stuff, it reinvigorated like his franchise. So one would think they would continue with this version of Chucky, but for whatever reason, they rebooted it in the 2019 movie. And so when that didn't do well, then they went to the television show where Dan got to take, full ownership of it again and got to do his vision and tie it into all these past like other Chucky movies and stuff. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But like I said before, it's not a terrible movie by no means, but it just reminds me of Child's Play 3. It's just when it slows down, it really, really slows down. Plus, I don't like none of the new characters. They're uninteresting and they're only there just to die and everything. And that's kind of like, just a rotten way to do a slasher sequel, which is why I don't like when they do that in Scream and stuff. And so, like, I do like Nico as like an addition to like the movie, but I was very confused as the pacing of this movie. Like it would go from Andy, then it would go from her, and when it goes to them, it will normally go to her for a very, very long time, to where Andy didn't even feel like a main character in the movie. He felt more like a recurring character in a television show and stuff. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.